What's up, guys, and welcome to Press A Repeatedly. Justin Thomaso here with Chris Gold.
Hey, everybody.
Chris, I thought we'd do something a little different this week in light of our opening banter. I have some breaking gaming-related news.
Oh, really? Coming live across the wire. What do you got, Justin?
Yeah, so this is interesting. I woke up today and I hopped on Twitter and I kind of saw a mass outrage, which is nothing new when you hop on Twitter these days, but
Outrage on Twitter? Say it ain't so.
it turns out that Bethesda announced when the beta will be happening for Fallout 76. Have you seen that?
Oh, no, I haven't.
They announced that it will be happening in October, which is only 1 month before the game comes out in the middle of November. The problem that's causing the outrage is that basically this means that this beta is not really a beta, because there is no way in hell they would be able to change anything for the game that the players decide that is a problem or needs to be improved in time for the release of the game only a month later.
Yeah, I mean, unless they go through like a absurd, like inhumane level of crunch before the game actually ships. Yeah, that's not a lot of time at all.
No, and that's not to say that they won't be taking what is said by the players and changing it later, but the game essentially is just going to launch the way that they intended it to. That player feedback won't have any effect on when the game comes out on the 14th. So that's kind of depressing. And also, it was first announced that only some people who pre-ordered the game will be getting an invite to the beta. And of course, people lost their mind. But then Bethesda backpedaled a bit and said, no. Everybody who pre-ordered is going to have access to the beta. It's just that we're rolling it out over the weeks where like a select few will start 1 week and then another select few will have access to it the next week. And so eventually everybody who pre-ordered will have access to the beta.
Okay, so then some of the people who don't get the beta until later, like how much later are they going to be getting the beta? Will it be like, oh, you got the beta, and then 1 week later, oh, it's the official release? That doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah,
Why honestly have a beta to begin with if you're not going to give yourself enough time to implement any of the feedback that you're going to get from the players to say, hey, maybe this works, maybe this doesn't work, and try to fix things? That honestly just sounds like really poor planning on Bethesda's part.
Yeah, a lot of disappointment comes from people thinking that the beta was going to be, in August or September, something that they could try during the summer, and from there being able to give input that would go into changing the game for its release in November. But that does not seem to be the case. It looks like this beta is almost going to be more of a demo and kind of just being used for Bethesda's side to test servers, I would assume, and just to kind of make sure everything's up and running for them. Again, they could very well take player input and make some changes later in the game's lifetime, but it's looking like no big changes will be made before the game is released on the 14th of November.
Yeah, that's honestly really disappointing. I mean, like, yeah, it's one thing if the game is going to be a demo and, like you said, it's going to help them test out their servers, see what they can handle, but just say that. Don't advertise it as a beta and say like, oh, we're going to incorporate like player feedback, because there's no way they're going to be able to in time before the official release. Just call it what it is. Be honest with the players. I'm not a fan of the move.
Yeah, I'm with you on that front. I don't know why they just weren't completely honest about how it was going to work, and to make everybody kind of sit and wait and think that this thing was going to come pretty soon, and now they have to wait a few more months to basically just try the game a little bit early. It's kind of a shame, but what can you really do at that point?
Yeah, I mean, Yeah, it's just one of those things. It sounds like they promised people, hey, pre-order the game, you'll get early access to the beta, and it just kind of sounds like they coerced a lot of people into pre-ordering the game for a beta that's not really a beta.
Yeah, you're right. I didn't even really look at it like that, but when you say it that way, it sounds even more scuzzy.
Yeah, not really a fan of this one. Old Todd, old boy. Yeah, if you're listening, Todd Howard, which we know you are, please reconsider this move.
Well, this kind of adds to the weird drama, I guess, of Fallout 76. The weird anticipation. I guess we won't, as stated before, we're really not going to know anything until this thing comes out and we're able to try it. But now we at least have a date of the beta, but it's still pretty far away.
Yeah, it's pretty far away. It's right in the middle of that wonderful time of the year where we're getting a lot of really great new releases coming out. Got Red Dead 2 coming out soon. The first chapter of Life is Strange 2 will be coming out. A lot of other games. It's really a busy time, and Fallout 76 is just another one of those great games that we're all looking forward to. So, yeah, we'll see. Maybe they're just trying to gain an edge in that busy time. Who knows? I don't know.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. Still pulling for it, and then we'll find out more in October. But with that breaking news aside, Chris, what do we have planned for today?
What we have planned today, Justin, is an ass kicking. Specifically, your ass kicking is what we have planned for today.
I remember the last time that we had a showdown, I believe you were the one who had the kicked ass.
That was completely circumstantial, all right? That was an aberration, a fluke, fake news.
If you don't know what we're talking about, we are having another video game Quiz Time Supreme showdown today. It is the second time that Chris and I are going to battle each other, where we each ask each other 8 multiple choice questions about video games, and at the end we tally up the score, determine a winner, and what does that winner win?
That winner, Justin, receives the ability to pass off their indie arcade title. That's right. The lucky winner of this video game Quiz Time Supreme will receive the chance, if they are given a truly craptastic game during the Indie Arcade segment, they can pass that game right on back to the person who gave it to them, and the following week, that person must play that shitty game, and they cannot retaliate with a terrible game the next week. So it guarantees the winner 2 weeks of peace of mind regarding the Indie Arcade.
Yeah, if you remember the last time we did this, I was victorious, and I used my pass on that stupid baby game that you made me play that one time.
No, I didn't make you play it. I made you make me play it, and that was Toddler Simulator. And let me remind you, Justin, that it was one of the greatest games I've ever played. That's not true. That game fucking sucked. That was absolute garbage.
Well, yeah, Chris, this is your opportunity to get one for yourself, or maybe I will just thwomp you again.
The thwomping, Justin, is going to come from me. All right? Onto you. You will be the thwompy.
Mm-hmm.
What are you playing?
This is the sloppiest intro yet.
By far the sloppiest intro to What Are You Playing we've ever had. I thought we were supposed to be getting good at this after so many episodes.
Yeah, after, what is this, 66?
This is 66.
Abysmal.
66. Yeah, 66. It's a bad number, Justin.
Oh, there you go. All right.
Yeah, that's no wonder. Oh, man. So, anyway, what are you playing?
All right, so what am I playing? If you listened to last week's episode, we highlighted some indie games that were coming out for the second half of 2018. And one of the ones I mentioned was Pool Panic, a game that I've been following for quite some time. And, I wasn't quite sure it was actually going to come out on the 19th like they had said they were. But it turns out that I was wrong. It definitely was coming out, and I picked it up.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah, so Pool Panic has the basic mechanics of pool, right? You got to knock the colored balls into the sockets. The 8-ball has to be the last one knocked into the socket. And that's where the similarities of pool end. The most appealing thing about this game to me is just how delightfully weird it is. It's got a really cool cartoony art style, and it's just so unexplainably weird that I find that just so interesting the way that this kind of world was created. As the cue ball, you have legs and you move the character around, and you can set up your shot from any angle that you want. And you do this by, if you hold the right joystick, a giant pool cue will come up behind you, and you can kind of aim this line of sight onto the pool ball that you want to hit. And it shows you, actually, which is kind of cool, the line of where that ball is going to go. So if you aim towards one ball, you have a white line going into the ball you want to hit. And then as you move your position, you can angle where that ball is going to go. And if the line turns yellow coming from the ball that you want to hit, that means it's going to go into a socket. That means you have it lined up well enough that it will sink that shot if you take it. So when things start to get difficult is that as this game is weird, all the balls that you're hitting also have legs and faces, and they all have their own kind of characteristics and do weird things just to make it more challenging for you to knock them all into the socket on each level. For example, there is one ball who's a big buff ball, and when he squats on the ground, he makes this really uncomfortable, weird, noise. Like he's about to take a dump or something.
And big buff ball's got to do what he's got to do.
But basically what that means is if you hit him while he's squatting, he's basically bracing himself for impact, so he will not move. So if you want to sink him, you have to hit him while he's standing. There's some other balls, there's one ball that's on roller skates. This one's really annoying. If you just try to hit that straight on, it will glide out of the way, so you miss every single time. So if you want to knock that ball into the socket, you have to hit another ball into that ball so it doesn't see it coming, and that will not get into the socket. So it's like a puzzle take on the game of billiards, because you have to learn how these different balls, how they interact, and what you need to do to get them in position to sink them all before you can, sink the 8-ball and move on to the next level. There was one level in particular I was playing where it was a campground, and there was 2 green balls. I guess they were supposed to be raccoons because they had little raccoon tails, and they were up in the trees of the campground. And I couldn't figure out how to get them down. I'm hitting myself into the tree, and it's not doing anything. And you have to sink these 2 green balls to complete the level. And, it was taking me a long time. I'm I just don't know how to get these guys down. And it turns out that there is a grill in the middle of the level. And one of those beefy balls is grilling burgers, I guess, for the rest of the balls in the campground. And if you hit yourself into that grill a certain number of times, the burgers fall off of the grill and onto the ground. And then the 2 raccoon balls recognize that, and they come scattering down the trees, and they start eating the burgers on the ground. And while they're eating the burgers is basically, you have to move quickly because that's that amount of time that you have to knock them into the sockets, or else they run back up into the trees, and you have to do it all over again.
My brain right now is that gif from Tim and Eric where he's blah, his brain is just exploding and he's just boy, that's me right now listening to you describe this game.
Yeah, so the game is definitely kind of hard to explain, but if you're interested, check out some videos maybe. There's also a world map that you have you kind of can like explore and walk around to the different sections of the map and where all the different levels are. And each level has some like challenges for you to do. Like for example, there's a timer, like knock all the balls into the sockets before the time runs out, or you have a stroke limit, almost like in golf, like knock all the balls in under 8 strokes. There's another one for knocking in. Sometimes you don't need to. There are some balls you don't need to knock in, but there's a bonus for if you do knock in every single ball on the level. And the other one is to not have any like wrong sockets. Like don't sink the 8 ball before you have to, and don't knock yourself into a socket before the end of the game. And they definitely add a big challenge to the game. Like the timer on some of them is so quick. I don't really know how you're supposed to be able to beat some of these like that. But those are just an extra way to play. You don't need to beat those challenges to beat a level. At least so far from where I am in the game. I'm still a bit early on, but it's the game's so weird. I just want to explore it more. So I never really want to spend time doing the same level again. So I'd rather just kind of beat a level and then move on to the next one and not really care that much about the challenges.
Is there a lot of variety to each level? Are you finding any that are kind of like really similar to one another, or are they different enough to keep you interested in what you find next?
So far, they're all pretty different, and like on the world map, there's different sections. Like like there's a forest area, so every level in that forest area is like campground kind of themed, but they're all have different mechanics. So like the one level had buses full of pool balls that came in. The other level had them all sleeping in tents. So like they're all kind of different puzzles laid out different ways, and it's really interesting. The level design is great.
All right, cool. Yeah, sounds like you're having a really good time with it so far.
Yeah, it definitely has some caveats. The controls can be a little tricky, especially aiming with the right stick. The camera is set at this kind of angled isometric view, and you cannot move it whatsoever. And I had a few issues where, like that level with the camping tents, a ball got stuck behind one of the tents, and I could not see where, when I lined up my shot, like the line that was coming from me, it just couldn't register hitting that ball, and I couldn't see like where I was going wrong there, and I had to restart the level. And in fact, one time on that same level, a ball got stuck in the tent, and I couldn't get it out. Yeah, so definitely can be frustrating sometimes with that, that in mind. But the good news is like you don't lose any points or anything for restarting a level, or it doesn't affect your score or anything. It is annoying to have to restart, especially if you're almost done, completing the level. But there's no real big penalties to having to restart.
Okay. So what else you got?
I'm continuing to play Harvest Moon. Leaving off last week, I had asked Karen to marry me. My romantic escapades. And she kind of just ignored it, and we didn't really know what happened, right?
Yes, that's where we left off on last week's episode. And this week's episode on As the Moon Turns.
As the real housewives of Atlas Farm.
So, what happened next? Did she marry you? What happened?
So, again, a couple days were going by and nothing was happening, and I was like, okay, I'm starting to think maybe this didn't register properly or something's wrong, maybe a glitch in the game. And so it was one night where, I did all my chores and I went to sleep, and as I woke up the next morning, it was just me and Karen outside of a church I was in a nice looking white suit, and she was in a wedding gown, and the townspeople were all there, and they were like throwing like flowers up in the air, and we kissed, and the bell rang, and the camera panned to like these birds flying away. It was very beautiful. And then it just said, I married my best friend today or something. And then the day was over. Like that was an entire day that I had no control of, so I couldn't like water my crops or tend to my animals or anything. and it just wakes you up the following day, and there's Karen living in my house. Like, just like that, we were married.
It's beautiful. It's so romantic.
Yeah.
I was kind of hoping, because like you didn't spend the day like feeding your animals or watering your crops, you'd come back and everything would be dead. You'd be like, "Oh no, I got married for this."
Sometime. When I was playing earlier, there's a cutscene where there's an old grandma in the town, and
how many young grandmas are there?
Okay, there's a grandma in this. She is the grandmother of Ellie, who works in the bakery. And the first year of the game, she's just outside, and you can talk to her, and she's like, "Oh, you look so much like your grandpappy, and like, you're working too hard. Don't forget to take breaks," and just being a sweet grandma,
Mm-hmm.
So, when year 2 rolls around, you'll come by the bakery, and you kind of see the grandma in her rocking chair, and her head is like down a little bit, and you're like, "Oh, that's peculiar." So you walk over to the grandma, and you say, you talk to her, and she said, "Oh, I was just having a wonderful dream, Randy," because my character's name was Randy. She was like, "Randy," and then Ellie comes outside, and it's like, "Grandma, come on, wake up! It's time to come inside." Grandma? Grandma? Grandma! And then the screen fades to white, and it says, "Her spirit was lifted into the heavens to be reconnected and to watch over us always." And then the day ends, and I wake up the next morning, and it's the next day.
My hands are over my mouth right now. I am in complete shock. I was not expecting the death of old grandma to occur so soon in the show. Man, I guess her contract was up for renewal.
Yeah, so old grandma passes away, unfortunately. But the problem was, I didn't know that was going to end my day. So my animals were outside. I didn't water my crops or whatever. So the next day, you wake up in the morning, and I ran outside. My animals were out there all night. They were sick. My crops weren't watered. Like, all this bad stuff happened. So I just hard reset the game, and basically, like, went a few weeks without even talking to the grandmother.
She's just sitting in the rocking chair. Flies are buzzing all around her. Like, one crawls, like lands on her face, like crawls over her eye. You're just like, "Nope, not talking to grandma. See ya." "Hi, grandma."
Yeah, so I was avoiding that until a day where I could like get all my chores done and everything, and then still have enough time to go and witness the harvest.
and then it was like, "All right, I got all my stuff done. Now let's go kill off grandma."
Pretty much. And so that's what I did.
I mean, in fairness though, like in real life, you're a farmer, you've got stuff to take care of, or I mean, you're just anybody, you've got stuff to take care of. And there's an old person who's there, and you always say hi to her. If one day you went up to talk to her, and she just up and croaks right in front of you, like right before your eyes, you watch someone die, I don't care who you are, you're done for the day. There is no, you are not getting anything else done the rest of the day. That is the only thing that is going to be on your mind. That is all you're going to be dealing with. It's realistic. I applaud Harvest Moon 64 for its realism in that particular instance. Because, yeah, man, I see someone die right in front of me. Yep, I'm tapping out. I'm saying, you know what? That's enough for today.
All right, fair enough. I will give you that. But getting back to Karen, my wife.
Yes.
So, this is very unfortunate, but I would assume that no matter who you pick to marry in Harvest Moon, once they become your wife, they all just kind of say the same dialogue options, regardless of their personality. Because
Really?
Yeah, like Karen basically has just become wifebot 64.
Mm.
She just, whenever I talk to her, she's always talking about either laundry or shopping. It's very, it would not fly today by any
No,
game standard.
no, that would not. That's
Yeah.
Yep. Oh, yeah. Fine. Yeah, you're married. Well, time to take this nasty old personality away from you.
Yeah, completely gone. It's like she got lobotomized or something, and all she talks about is how lovely of a day it is for laundry. That's an exact quote. I'm going shopping today. Let me know if you need anything. And basically, I promise to work hard during the afternoons. Oh, and when I come home around like 7 o'clock, she's in the kitchen like cooking dinner. Which is nice. I appreciate that.
I mean, it's nice, but you don't. Yeah, Karen, sweetie, you don't have to make dinner every night. Like, we can order out. Don't you want to take a break? Maybe watch some TV or something? No. I want to make sure that my husband is well fed and well provided for.
Yeah.
Man.
Oh.
Nope.
Yep.
This ain't the 50s anymore.
But one good thing about having a wife is that, so in the newer games like Stardew Valley or the newer Harvest Moons or Story of Seasons, I know when you get married, you can have your wife help you out on the farm, like basically have her do some of the chores for you so you're not doing everything all day.
Right.
And I didn't realize that even in Harvest Moon 64 that mechanic was there, because I talked to Karen, or I'm sorry, Wifebot 64 one morning, and she was like, I took all the eggs and put them in the crates for you. And at first I didn't know what she was talking about, but then I went in the chicken coop, and yeah, all my eggs were collected and I already put away, ready to be shipped for the buyer. So yeah, that was pretty cool. And she doesn't do that every day, but like a lot of times she'll do that, and that really takes some of the load off of me during my daily workload.
Well, I mean, that's nice. I mean, that is nice that she's willing to help you out around the farm.
Yeah, no, it's definitely helpful. It's kind of a bummer that, like, the wife aspect of the game doesn't really amount to that much. There's not a lot of dialogue options. She says the same thing like every day. And in fact, I remember one of the complaints of Stardew Valley was that once you get married, that kind of happens, that the wife doesn't really say that many different things and stuff. And the developer, Concerned Ape.
Yes, Concerned Ape.
Yes, he actually made some changes in that and made the wife a bit more vocal and gave her more options. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's really good at kind of maintaining the game. I know he's been working really hard, kind of diverging a little bit, but working on the multiplayer aspects of Stardew Valley, which I believe are going to be going live in just a few weeks. Yeah. So that's really exciting. But yeah, I know he's been providing a lot of support to the game afterwards. And honestly, like, even then, like, when you marry someone in the town, they always bring like a bit of their personality to your farmhouse when they live there. Like, for example, I know Leah. When you marry her, she kind of brings her sculpting and her art supplies over to the house, and you'll sometimes see her like working on her artwork there. So like they do maintain at least some of their old personality at least. But you're right, it would be nice to hear them say some different things that are more in line with their characters.
Yeah, I bought the baby bed. So I am assuming that baby is on the way soon, so maybe it'll be a little different then, but I'm not expecting too much.
Right. I mean, that's all you have to do is you just buy the baby bed, and then one day the baby appears in the baby bed.
That's what I'm told. That there is no other action required to conceive a baby.
As far as I know, that's it. I mean, the baby just happens.
Yes. So I'm very excited for whenever that may be.
Yep, you have fingers crossed.
With that being said, that is it for me this week. So, Chris, what are you playing?
Well, Justin, unfortunately, this week was a bit of a busy one for me, so I didn't have as much time to play games as I would have liked. So I'm going to take this time, since I am playing Final Fantasy VI on my Game Boy Advance, I'm going to regale you with the story of the one time where Setzer screwed up. This was
All right, I'm ready.
Now, this, I'm sure I told you before, but it's first time I've told the story on the podcast. This was years ago. It was one of the times I played through Final Fantasy VI. Eventually, you get, as you build up your party members, one of the player characters that you get is Setzer Gabbiani. He is a gambler by trade. He's a friend of the show, Nick. Least favorite character in the entire game. I don't understand what his hatred is for Setzer, but he really needs to get a grip because it's unhealthy. That is not true. Nick adores Setzer more than anyone. So, Setzer, all of the characters have their own unique abilities that really sets them apart from everyone else. And Setzer, because he's a gambler, one of his abilities is slots. And with slots, it's just what you would think it would be for a gambler character. You pull a lever on a slot machine, and you have these 3 wheels that spin in front of you on the screen in the middle of combat. And you have to press the button to stop each wheel, and it provides a combination of some sort. And based on whatever the combination is, you have the 3 different combos. Depending on whatever that is, it provides some sort of effect. Maybe it does like some damage, maybe it heals your party, something happens based on the slot system. And one of the abilities, one of the rarest, hardest abilities that you can get with slots is Joker's Death. And Joker's Death is when you get all 7s. So it's 777. So it's like if you were actually playing the slots, you get a jackpot. And the jackpot with Joker's Death, whoever your enemies are, they all die. It doesn't matter who they are, what they are, how powerful they are. It could be Kefka, the final boss. Spoilers. And if you get Joker's Death on Kefka, he will die. They'll all die. And so it's very, very hard to get this move, though. It's a lot of players can play the entire game several times over and never get Joker's Death even once.
Right.
So it's about halfway through the game or so, and I was I was exploring the airship, and I committed one of the unforgivable sins of JRPGs, Justin. I went down the stairs on the airship in one area, and there was a little safe spot right there. It's the safe spot that's always there whenever when you enter the airship. And I walked past that, and I thought, I don't need that, and I just kept going. So I ignored the save point.
Oy.
So then I go down into the bowels of the airship, and as I get down there, I get an encounter, and there's a few goblins. Just goblins, Justin. Just random, stupid, useless goblins. Like, these are literally the type of goblins that you could just use a simple attack on them, and you would just wipe them out probably in like 3 minutes or so.
For sure.
So, Setzer comes up to first, and I decide, you know what? I'm gonna fuck these guys up. I'm gonna use slots. So I pull out slots, and I turn the wheels. 777. Jackpot. I was like, holy shit, I got Joker's Death, right? So I'm like, oh shit, that's awesome. So here's the thing, though. After using Joker's Death, there has to be a pause between when Setzer uses it and when the enemies attack. Like, the enemies have to go through their attacks. One of the goblins used Confuse on Setzer.
Oh my god.
And the goblin confused Setzer right before he cast Joker's Death. I was like, oh shit, no. Sure enough, Setzer is confused, and he turns around and casts Joker's Death on my entire party, including himself. We all drop dead, and the game ends. And I'm sitting there, I'm holding the system in my hands, just staring at the screen. I don't know how long I stared at the screen in complete disbelief at what I had seen.
Who's a stupid goblin now, asshole?
As they're like kicking my corpse. But no, like,
that is amazing.
I couldn't believe it. The one time I get Joker's Death, and I get confused into using it on my own party. Like, why? Why do I have such rotten luck, oh lord?
That's one of the best things about turn-based RPGs is that the random crazy stories that can happen like that, or like, you know, when you're fighting a boss and your whole party's dead except for you, and you only have one hit point left, and like you do one last attack and it works and kills them. Like those things make you just feel so triumphant, or conversely, you know, horrified and miserable when it doesn't go in your favor, like that example.
Oh,
but
yeah.
just, you know, that like ability for that to happen is just so cool.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like, I mean, I've had so many moments like that while playing JRPGs. Like, I've had moments where I think it was in Legend of Dragoon where I was fighting these like 3 boss characters, and they whittled my party down to like one person was left alive, and they were like half health. And then just randomly, I was like, okay, you know, revive on someone else, who then uses cure on someone else, who then uses revive on the other guy, and I restored us all to like full health, and then just wiped out the other guys. It like a crazy turnaround. I was like, holy shit! Like, I felt like such a badass. I was like, that is something you see in like an anime or something, where literally they come back against all odds,
Against all odds,
and somehow manages to emerge triumphant. I was like, oh yeah, like such a good feeling.
I remember playing through, you know, any of the Mario and Luigi games, and, you know, this is a really clever concept of, in the Mario and Luigi games, you have the ability to avoid attacks by, you know, these time-based dodges and stuff that you make. But when one of the party members goes down, you have to actually, like, if, for instance, you know, Mario dies in a battle and have just Luigi left. When the enemy's attacking, Luigi runs over and, like, picks up Mario and, like, puts him over his shoulder. And you can still dodge and stuff, but your timing is purposely delayed because you are heavier now, because you're carrying a brother on your back. And it's really creative, but also incredibly frustrating at times. And, you know, it just throws your whole rhythm off of what you're used to for dodging attacks. And, you know, I remember just a bunch of times where, like, I was just trying so hard not to die, and, like, just getting through it enough in time to be able to throw Mario a one-up shroom and get him back on his feet. And, like, man, this is some really epic battles.
I have another story just like that about Mario and Luigi, but I can save that for another time. Yeah,
sounds good.
Yeah, I've had enough story time for today. So, I mean, that's really it for me, which means, Justin, it's time for us to go to the Indie Arcade.
Indie Arcade.
If you all remember, last week I gave Justin the obscure indie title Fallen to play as his Indie Arcade game. Justin, tell us all about it.
So, Chris, I am disappointed by Fallen.
In what way?
In the way that I was actually excited and anticipating a terrible, wretched game that I could just tear up for like 10 minutes straight on this podcast. Because as much as we hate playing the terrible games, and, you know, regaling each other and how terrible they are is always so much fun, Fallen isn't that bad.
Really?
It's really not. It is a 2D side-scrolling platformer slash puzzle game, and there are definitely some issues with it. Like, for example, the controls are a bit floaty when you're jumping. The most egregious of all is that the translation and dialogue is terrible. That could just be that maybe the developer doesn't really understand the language as well. So I don't want to harp too bad on that, but like it's just very, very weird and confusing at times. The game, the game starts off with. I have to see if I can like record the intro somehow because it is so good. It's just like there's this war going on or something. Like there are these beings on the ground, these like black silhouettes with red eyes, and then a UFO comes out of the sky, and a whole bunch of black silhouettes with green eyes come out of the UFO, and they start moving towards the red eye guys. The red eye guys just start shooting and like picking off a few of them, and so like some of the green eye guys are dying, and then the camera just fixates on one of the green eye guys who says, I have to go find my son. And he just starts moving to the right, and it's a giant hole in the ground, and he just tumbles and falls into the hole, and then it puts you at the beginning of the first level, and that's how the game starts.
Wow. Okay.
There's no explanation of who you are, who they were. There was no scene of your son being kidnapped or anything. Like, it was just so random and strange. I have to record that somehow. But anyway, the entire game, everything in the game is like a silhouette. Like the platforms you're standing on is a silhouette. The enemies are silhouettes. The traps are silhouettes. Some of the background is in color, just like textures and stuff. But pretty much everything that you could interact with is a black silhouette. You are one of those aliens, so you're a black silhouette with green eyes. And anything with red eyes is an enemy that you have to fight. There are these white diamonds that are like coins in like a platformer game, you know, that you collect. 20 diamonds can be used to purchase ammunition for your blaster, and 100 diamonds can be used to purchase basically a resurrection stone, which is like, you know, if you die, you can start from exactly where you died instead of having to go back to the last checkpoint. The weird thing about that is that you kind of buy these things on the fly. Like, there is a button assigned to buying more ammo, and there's a button assigned to buying one of the resurrection stones. So you can move, jump, shoot, buy more ammo, or buy a resurrection stone.
Okay.
Yeah, kind of weird.
A little weird.
Yeah. The first level, tutorial level, is definitely laid out kind of strange because there are these signs that you can read that tell you, oh, press A to jump or whatever. There's about maybe 20 signs in that first level. 15 of them told me in some different way that I could use stones to buy ammo or resurrection stones, or how much it would cost to buy ammo, or what to press to buy ammo. Like the same thing, just presented differently, like 10 different times on these signs. I was like, I get it. Yes, I can buy ammo. Thank you. And there are other things that it didn't explain, like how your life bar works, or that there is actually ammo that you can collect on its own that you don't even need to buy. Like, you know, I had to figure that stuff out on my own.
All right. I mean, it sounds like you were still able to kind of figure things out, though.
Yeah, so I'm getting started. I'm like, okay, here we go. This is gonna just be like terrible, but you know, it was kind of fun. Like, it was a pretty solid side-scrolling platformer. There are traps in the level, and it's kind of like clever how to disarm some of them. Like, there are like these big bear traps, and you have to find this little rock on the ground that you kick over, and if the rock lands in the bear trap, it'll snare, so you don't get affected by it. You can go around it. There are like other buttons that drop different levers and different platforms for you to hop on and explore. keys to find to unlock doors, secret areas to find these purple gems. If you find 3 purple gems, you get some bonus at the end of the level. So it's like, what you would expect from like a pretty decent, side-scrolling platformer game. The hit detection isn't great because there's a lot of times where I'm just next to an enemy and I registered a hit for some reason. The problem with everything being black mostly in the game is that it's kind of hard to sometimes see when enemies are coming. In fact, there are these ghosts that just kind of come up out of the ground when you get close to the area that they're at, and you just don't even know they're coming. So every time I'm just walking and I hear and like it'll come up out of the ground and attack me, and like it's always an instant hit. There's one part where like there's this weird ghost singing that's supposed to be scary, but it just sounds like 3 drunk people singing "Ring Around the Rosie" with an echo effect on it.
What?
Yeah, like you walk into an area and you hear "Ring around the rosy, pockets full of posies," and it just sounds so like goofy that I was just laughing the whole time. And if you move in like one pixel direction, like out of frame, like instead of it just fading away, the sound just like stops. So there's like a certain area that will like trigger the song, and a certain area where it just won't play at all. So like you can just abruptly end it if you want.
That's actually pretty funny.
Yeah. The actual music of the game, though, when it does kick in, is actually pretty cool because a lot of it's quiet. I mean, the first whole level is that you're underground in this cave, but every now and then, like kind of this atmospheric little like violin part comes in, and it sounds really good. Like I was digging it. There are 3 worlds. One's called Cave, one is called Spooky Land, and one is called Forest, I think. And I think each world has 5 levels and a boss. And where I'm at right now is I am at the 5th level in the cave, so I'm about to fight the boss, I guess. The story is really weird. I met this guy named Charlie who died because a ghost came and took him. But then I found him again later in his ghost form. And there's this really weird part where Charlie's like, "I know where your son is, follow me." I'm like, okay, so I'm following Charlie's ghost and get to this one point, and there's a pit of spikes on the right side of the screen. And this little silhouette with green eyes just starts falling from the sky towards the spikes. And Charlie comes over and grabs him, and he says, "The son, I have saved your son." And you're like, "My son." And then this giant black reaper appears and says, "Take him to the Demon King." And another black ghost comes and just takes the son away from Charlie and like flies up into the air. And then the big black reaper just fades away. And Charlie says, "To save your son, you must defeat the Demon King." And I'm like, "Oh, no. Thanks. I literally just saw him take him away from him."
Could have solved everything in like 5 minutes.
Yeah. I don't know. So, yeah, I mean, I was really trying to hate it, and I couldn't. Like, it's not a great game by any means, but it's not terrible either. And, this was made by one guy, I believe. He's working on that other game that looked like Stardew Valley.
Right.
What was that called? Stupid something?
Stupid Night.
Yeah. Yeah. For a first game, did on your own, like, I think it was a great job. So, yeah, I'll keep an eye on Stupid Night. See how that's coming along.
All right, well, I mean, that's disappointing. I really wanted you to hate this game, but it turns out it actually wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. Man, you win some, you lose some.
Yeah, it was not terrible. Put that on the back of the box.
Not terrible. Press A repeatedly.
Yes. So, with that being said, it is now time for me to assign you a game.
Oh, boy.
And we should note that even if you do win the face-off later on today, you cannot use that for this week.
Oh, that's a comforting caveat.
Okay, so keeping in with the theme of just shooting weird alien creatures.
Uh-huh.
I forgot to mention that in Fallen, there are these little black alien bug things that are so tiny, and they just come straight for you. And when you shoot your gun, it is literally like the bullet is just like a pixel size, like a little green dot. And you have to be so precise and line it up perfectly to hit them. And if you don't kill them in time, when you shoot them, they explode and spikes go everywhere. So if you kill them near you, you still get hurt. So you have to kill them from a distance. And man, they are the most annoying freaking enemy. And of course, there's a million of them in the game.
All right. So go on.
Yeah, sorry. Just wanted to throw it in there.
Yeah. No problem.
Okay. Chris, have you ever been to Mars?
A while ago, but not enough. It was long enough ago that I don't remember it.
Well, you're about to go back because
jeez.
your indie arcade game for this week on Steam and currently on sale for $3.59
Oh boy.
is Mars Troopers.
Mars Troopers.
Mars Troopers must defeat the enemy to save the universe. Super exciting shooting game waiting for you to challenge. Action games, arcade games, crime games, fight games, and for those fans of guns, weapon games. Feature 20 plus alien monsters boss, 9 different alien stars, pistols, AK-47, machine guns, RPG-7 anti-tank rocket-propelled grenade launcher, grenade, shotgun, huge selection of weapons, amazing explosion effects, pistol have unlimited ammo, amazing game music, realistic weapon sounds, high-resolution graphics, addictive, amazing game experience.
This looks like ass. Oh man, this looks like hot buttered ass.
I don't know, man. Look at some of these creatures.
It looks like, is this like on rails? Did they? Because I'm watching the screen, the trailer, and it really looks like you're moving around on rails.
It might be.
Yeah, because like you're moving, yeah, you stop, and then here's a whole lot of enemies that you gotta shoot right on the screen. You can't really move or duck around. Yeah, it's like an arcade. It's pretty much like when you go to an arcade cabinet and you play one of those shooters. Yeah, it's totally on rails.
Shoot off the screen to reload.
Yeah, I hate those types of games.
Perfect.
Oh, Christ. This just does not look good at all.
There's like no continuity of the enemies that you fight. There's like a tremor worm, there's a bat creature, and then the eye of the beholder.
Yeah. It's oh god, like there's these dune worms that are like jumping out of the stand. Like, are you kidding me with this nonsense? You don't even see your weapon. It's just a laser that just kind of like comes out of you, like pew 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 pew. Oh, Lord!
Well, don't spoil all your fun because you're gonna be playing this all this week.
I suppose I am. Good. Wait, its genre is action, adventure, indie, and RPG. What in that trailer was there anything related to any of that? The action, sure. Adventure, where? Indie, okay. RPG? RPG?
Yeah, as in the rocket-propelled grenade launcher.
Ugh. Damn you.
All right, well, Chris, what do you say we take a quick break for you to absorb this, and when we return, hop into the video game Quiz Time Supreme Showdown 2.
I hate you so much.
Welcome back to Press A repeatedly. Justin Tomasello here with Chris Gold, and it is time for the second showdown in the Video Game Quiz Time Supreme.
Video Game Quiz Time Supreme.
Alright, so since I won last time, how about I get to pick whether I kick or receive?
All right, I didn't realize we were playing by football rules here. All right, fine. You won last time. You get the privilege. Do you want to ask first or be asked first?
I would like to be asked first.
All right, so I'm gonna kick things off then. All right, so Justin, are you ready for your first question?
Again, this is eight questions that we are asking each other each, so 16 in total, and at the end we'll tally up the scores to see who scored better and reward the winner.
Yep. We will crown myself the winner. I'm very much looking forward to that. Justin, your first question.
Yes. All right.
There were 4 Super Mario Advance games for the Game Boy Advance. They were remakes of early Super Mario Bros. Titles. Which of these was Super Mario Advance 4 a remake of? A. Super Mario World, B. Super Mario Bros. 3, C. Super Mario Bros. 2, or D. Super Mario World 2 Yoshi's Island?
Okay, so I remember these being very confusing because the actual first Super Mario Bros. Game was remade on the Game Boy Color and titled Super Mario Bros. Deluxe, which means... Okay, I need a second to plan this out.
There are no time limits, so you don't have to stress yourself.
I'll be editing out these long thinking gaps. I think it is Super Mario Bros. 3. I'm going to go with that.
Is that your final answer?
Yes.
Correct.
Excellent!
Yeah. Yeah, I remember how confusing that whole system name was. And it was essentially the advanced number was one more than the actual game number. Because the first advanced game...
The first advanced game was Super Mario Bros. 2.
Bros. 2.
Yes.
Right.
And then Super Mario Advance 2, I believe, was Super Mario World.
Oh, that's right. And they came out in different...
Yeah.
It's so weird.
And then Super Mario Advance 3 was Yoshi's Island. And then Super Mario's Advance 4, as you correctly surmised, was Super Mario Brothers 3.
I think the only reason I got that right is because I actually own that Super Mario Bros. 3 remake on the Game Boy Advance. And I remember just what a wordy, weird, confusing title it was.
It was... I mean, why call it Super Mario Advance at all? Just say it's a remake of Super Mario Brothers 3.
Yeah. They were new to remakes at the time, I guess. Very strange.
Yes, very strange. But, yeah. Good guess and point to you.
Thank you. Good question. I definitely had to reach the back ends of my brain for that one.
Reach back into the squishy, cobwebby part of your brains. Try to find the answer.
Many cobwebs. Okay, Chris, are you ready to get your first question?
I am ready.
Yacht Club Games, developer of the Shovel Knight series, was founded in 2011 by the former technologies director of which company? Was it A, Way Forward, B, Mojang, C, Inti Creates, or D, Nicholas?
Okay. I don't think it was Mojang or Nicholas, because Mojang came out... Mojang was developed by Marcus Persson, Notch, for when he created Minecraft. Nicholas, I think, is a more recent developer, so it's not them, I don't think. What was the third one you said?
C is Inti Creates, and A is Way Forward.
A is Way Forward. C is Inti Creates. C, I've never heard of Inti Creates, but Way Forward, I mean, from what I know of Shovel Knight's development, Way Forward just sounds familiar to what I know and understand of Shovel Knight. So I'm just going to go ahead and say A, Way Forward.
You are correct.
Woo!
Excellent!
Nice deduction there. Yeah, you could really tell if you think of, Way Forward, they make the Shantae series.
Yes.
You think of how great of a platformer side scroller that is, and then you look at Shovel Knight and just all of its success there. You can even see like the influences of Way Forward's prior work in there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, just those guys at Yacht Club Games really went above and beyond. And I love how much they put out for Shovel Knight, but I bet they are sick to death of Shovel Knight, and I'm really ready to bring something else to the table, and I can't wait to see what that's going to be.
Yeah, I'm really excited too. I mean, Shovel Knight was just an absolutely just instant classic gem, but you're right. They've kind of gone to the Shovel Knight well a lot so far. I mean, but hey, it's a good formula. It's a winning formula. I mean,
great game.
You just gotta think of new knights, and bam, you've got a new Shovel Knight game. So we'll see. They're creative folks over there. I'm excited to see what they've got coming next. Justin, are you excited to see what I've got coming next for you?
Lay it on me.
Which of these Assassin's Creed games did not star Ezio Auditore? A. Assassin's Creed 2, B. Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, C. Assassin's Creed Unity, or D. Assassin's Creed Revelations?
Okay, so Chris alluded to this before the podcast, but there are a few questions that he came up with of games that I have not played, and that is totally fair. I'm not saying one way or the other, but yes, unfortunately, I have not really played much of any of the Assassin's Creed games. However, I think I know enough to answer this question.
Right. Well, I've talked about it enough in front of you that you might have picked something up.
Yeah. I thought he was only in 2 games, actually, but this question definitely makes that perception wrong.
Yes.
I'm going to go with Assassin's Creed Unity. Was that answer C?
That was answer C, yes.
Yes, Unity is my final answer.
You are correct.
Excellent!
Woo! Yes, the Ezio trilogy, as it's referred to, started out with Assassin's Creed 2, continued the story in Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, and kind of wrapped everything up, at least on the main consoles, with Assassin's Creed Revelations.
See, I thought Ezio was in the original Assassin's Creed.
No, that was oh god, what was that dude's name?
Frankie Muniz.
Yes, it had Frankie Muniz as the assassin in the very first Assassin's Creed. That was it was weird casting. Not a lot of people really enjoyed that one, so Ubisoft decided, you know what, for Assassin's Creed 2, let's go in a different direction, which was a very, very good decision on their part.
Fair enough.
All right, so 2 points for Justin.
Okay. Chris, are you ready to try and tie it up?
I'm ready as I'll ever be.
How many stars are required to open the big star door and reach the top of the endless stairs in the original Super Mario 64? It's different in the Super Mario 64 that came out on the DS.
Right.
Is it A, 60, B, 65, C, 70, or D, 75?
This definitely calling back to my memory banks a little bit. I don't know why, but from the moment you asked this question, the number 70 just jumped out at me. And I'm really glad it's one of the answers that you provided. But then again, is my memory just mistaken? Because I remember I played a lot of the DS version of the game. I played a lot of the 64 version, but I also played a lot of the DS version. So that's screwing up with my memory as well. I mean, 60 is half the stars, because you can get 120 full stars in the game. So I don't think it would be 65 or 75. I think Nintendo would want like a nice round number at the end. So I'm throwing those out. So it's either 60 or 70. I don't think that they would want you to have just half the stars that you can get at the game. I think they would want you to have more than half. So I'm going to go 70.
You're correct.
Excellent!
Nice deduction. Yeah, you definitely must have just had that retained in your brain somewhere because, that was great to trust your gut there and think of that 70 initially. I don't think I would have known that off the top of my head, but maybe, like you said, maybe that number would kind of stand out to me.
Mm-hmm. It just, there's some questions you get, and it's just an answer jumps out at you. I think it's just one of those things where we've played so much of Super Mario 64 that it's just one of those things that sticks with us. Like, this is the number that we need. This is what we have to, this is what we got to get, and it just sticks with you in that little part of your brain that remembers such things.
Yep, so 70 stars in the original. It is 80 in the DS version. I'm not sure. I guess they just added more stars for you to get in that remake. But
right. Now, see,
70 is correct.
Now, see, 80 just seems too high for me, but that's it is what it is.
Yeah.
All right. Justin, are you ready for question number 3?
Let's do it.
Okay. Which of these is not in the recipe for salmon mayonnaise as found in Breath of the Wild?
Oof.
A. Hearty salmon. B. Goat butter. C. Tabantha wheat. Or D. Rock salt.
Okay. Great question. I'm pretty sure you have to make that's the dish you have to make for one of the bird kids in the Rita village.
In the Rito village, yes. Yeah, one of the kids specifically asks for salmon mayonnaise.
Yes.
I don't even know if that's how you actually pronounce it, so I'm just...
It sounds legit to me.
Yeah, so I'm going with it.
Everyone knows you can't sing properly unless you've had a nice, delicious salmon mayonnaise.
Very true. It's just common sense.
For those of you who don't know, one of my hobbies is actually cooking, and I'm just kind of breaking this down in my head, and if this was a real dish, I would definitely have, of course, the salmon in there. The mayonnaise, I believe, is like the sauce oatmeal on top of it, and you would definitely need some sort of butter, and of course, salt to flavor. I don't really think there would be a need for the wheat, so I'm going to say that the Tabantha wheat is not in that recipe.
Is that your final answer?
Yes. Is that option C?
That is option C. And option C is incorrect.
Oh, no!
No!
That's right.
It's salt, isn't it?
It's the salt.
Ah!
Yep. Yeah, the 3 ingredients in salmon mayonnaise are hearty salmon, goat butter, and Tabantha wheat. As amazing as it seems, as weird as that sounds, wheat is one of the main ingredients in salmon mayonnaise.
It's funny. I was just about to, my brain was telling me to stop you and change it to salt because, I just had this fleeting thought of, the salmon, the goat, and the wheat. They require a little bit of work to find, and the salt is just, you can kind of get that really anywhere, just off of rocks and stuff. So I was like, wait, maybe that's the one. I'm so annoyed.
I'm actually looking it up right now. Mayonnaise, let's see, the word itself means miller's wife. Thus, to cook something a la mayonnaise was to cook it by first dredging it in flour. So that's where the wheat comes in the mayonnaise recipe.
Is there an actual recipe to kind of make it?
I mean, there's recipes for mayonnaise sauces and how to cook various things a la mayonnaise, if you look them up. So, yeah, it's I guess if we were more familiar with French cuisine, that would have probably come a little more easily to us. But yeah, no,
Yeah.
you do not want to put any salt in your salmon mayonnaise.
There is a YouTube channel that friend of the show, Butch, is always telling me about called Binging with Babish, where it's a guy who cooks foods that are in like cartoons or movies or games, and I wonder if that was one that he tackled.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. Honestly, if someone put salmon mayonnaise in front of me right now, after talking about it so much, I would devour it. It sounds delicious.
You and me both, brother.
All right. Enough food, more questions.
Yes, Chris, your next question. In what year was the last game for the Nintendo Entertainment System released? Is it A, 1992, B, 1994, C, 1996, or D, 1998?
They supported the NES for a long time. I know that. Oh, man. Oh, that's hard. That's so hard. What were the first two options?
92, 94, 96, 98.
Okay. I'm going to say 92 and 94 are out because I'm pretty sure Kirby's Adventure came out on the NES in 1995. I'm pretty sure. So I'm just going to axe those two right off firstly. So, man, they were releasing games in 96 and 98, or potentially 98. Whew. Oh, man. Oh. Oh, this is a 50-50 shot between these two. 1996.
Was that your final answer?
God help me. Yes.
That is incorrect.
Oh no!
Oh!
Believe it or not, the correct answer is B, 1994.
What? Seriously?
So from my research, which was on, it was a link that brought me to a community page on Giant Bomb that had listed everything, all the system's final games. On December 1st, 1994, Wario's Woods came out, and that was the final official NES game, not like a ROM hack or anything, that came out on the system. Kirby, I think that might have been 1993.
I just looked it up. It's 1993. Damn it.
Yeah.
Oh, my brain foiled me again.
But yeah, there you go. December 1st, 1994. So that is the end of 1994.
Right at the end of
that came out.
1994.
Yeah. That is like more than 3 years into the span of the Super Nintendo. And 1996 was the year that 64 came out. So
Man,
crazy.
that is wild.
But you were definitely right that they were supporting the NES for a very long time.
I mean, 94, that was 9 years after Super Mario Brothers first came out.
Yeah.
Man, that's wild. All right. So, I got to shake that off. Justin,
All right.
move on by asking you the next question.
Okay.
I think you've got a pretty good shot at this one. So you played a lot of this game, I'm sure. Which of these is not a Shovel Knight stage? A. Beto Burrow, B. Volcano City, C. The Lich Yard, or D. Explodatorium?
Wait. First of all, that's funny that we have two Shovel Knight references already. I did play a lot of this game. Unfortunately, it was quite long ago.
Well, I mean, that's unfortunate for you. That's very fortunate for me.
Yeah. Pretty sure Volcano City is like the last level. So I think that's there. Explodatorium sounds goofy enough to actually be a title. The Lich Yard? Something about Beto Burrow doesn't sound right to me. And that's the only one of the ones that you've said that's an alliteration, or is the BB?
Right.
I gotta go with your first instinct, right? I'm gonna go with A, Beto Burrow.
Is that your final answer?
Yes.
Incorrect.
Oh no!
This is Justin. This is gonna blow your mind. The answer is B, Volcano City.
Really?
Yes, because Justin, it's not called Volcano City. It is Lost City. It takes place in a volcano, but it is not called Volcano City.
Oof.
Stumped ya.
You certainly did. Good question. But it makes me want to go back and play more Shovel Knight because
We've talked
came
about
to admit,
yeah, we've talked about it a lot so far.
yeah, I never actually beat it. I made it to the final level and I pulled a Justin like I always do and just forgot about it and never went back to it.
It's a hard game.
Yeah,
It is
I
very difficult.
Really had a great time playing it.
Oh,
Though.
it's so fun, but it's so hard.
All right, Chris. I'm pissed off now.
Of course you are, but you can't change your questions.
No, unfortunately I can't. But maybe you will screw up like I did with this next question.
All right, let's see. I already screwed up with
right.
that one question. I forgot when Kirby's
Well, I need you to
Adventure
screw
came
up
out.
again, all right?
All right. Let's see what we got.
Which of the following ranks 4th in the best-selling games for the original Xbox?
Oh, man.
Is it A, Halo 2, B, Fable, C, Halo Combat Evolved, that's the first Halo, and D, Tom Clancy's Splinter Cell? So of those 4, these are the top 4 best-selling games on the original Xbox. Which one is number 4?
Fuck! I don't know. I have no clue. Oh man. Holy crap. Oh, this is an excellent question. This is a great question. Oh man, I know literally nothing about the original Xbox. All right. Okay, so I know Halo. Obviously, that was their killer app that they launched with. That was their big time seller. Halo Combat Evolved was the first game that they launched with. Halo 2, that sold a lot of units, especially because they were launching Xbox Live with that service. So I think Halo 2 outsold the first Halo. I think. So I am going to hesitantly remove that one from my list of answers. I'm completely flying by the seat of my pants here. I have no clue. All right, so there's Tom Clancy's Splinter Cell. Oh man, there's a franchise I haven't given 2 seconds of thought to. Oh man. Oh. God damn this question. I hate it. I hate it so much. It's so good. This is the type of question, if I asked you and I heard you squirming this much, I would be in my glory.
I can hear you sweating through the microphone.
I am sweating profusely right now. I am that gif of Peel when his wife is using the computer and his sweat is just pouring buckets down his forehead. That is me right now, thinking of this question. Oh, man. It could be any of them. Any of them. Oh. All right, so just got to pick one. I am going to say Fable. I am going to say Fable. God help me.
Is that your final answer?
That is my final answer.
Damn it, Chris, you're correct.
Excellent!
I got it right!
You got it right.
Yes! Yes!
Thought I had you there.
Yes! That was a complete guess. That was a total guess. I had no clue whatsoever.
Well, you pretty much narrowed it down correctly. Halo 2 was number 1 with 8 million copies sold. Tom Clancy's Splinter Cell was 2 with 6 million. Halo 1, 3 with 5 million. And then Fable had 3 million. Which is actually a lot more sales than I thought Fable had gotten. I didn't think it was that popular, but there you go. The 4th best-selling game for the original Xbox is Fable. It's a great game. If you've never played it, they've made 3 of them. And they were working on a 4th. Then the studio got shut down, but there was rumblings of the IP being moved to a different studio, so we might still see more from Fable coming up in the near future.
I heard a lot of the same rumors that they may be coming back to the Fable franchise, so that would be really cool.
Nice
Oh
job.
boy. Whew.
I angrily applaud you.
Angry applause is the best kind of applause.
All right, so now we're at the halfway point. Chris has 3 corrects, and I have 2 correct.
That is correct. All right, so I have the lead so far, but it's only a 1-point lead, so this is still very much anyone's game. All right, so Justin, are you ready for the last 4 questions?
Yes, sir.
All right, question 5. Which Sonic character debuted first? A. Amy Rose, B. Big the Cat, C. Cream the Rabbit, or D. Knuckles the Echidna?
Okay, I'm a little nervous that this is going to be a trick question. Because, of course, Sonic and Knuckles was a Genesis game. It came out right after Sonic 3, I believe. I don't know if maybe one of those characters was in an earlier game just for like a second or like a background character or something. Big the Cat, I think his first game was Sonic Adventure, because I remember all the fishing games with him. And I think Amy might have been that one too. I don't remember. And Cream the Rabbit, I don't know if I've ever heard that. That must be one of the new characters that's in the new Sonic Mania DLC that just came out. Was Knuckles?
D was Knuckles, yes.
Yeah, I have to go with Knuckles. D. Final answer.
Incorrect.
Oh no!
You gotta be kidding me.
All right, so in reverse order, Cream the Rabbit debuted in Sonic Advance 2, which came out in 2002. Big the Cat, you were right, came out in Sonic Adventure. And then Knuckles came out in Sonic 3 and Knuckles, which was released in 1994. But Amy Rose, Justin, debuted in Sonic CD, which came out in 1993.
I can't believe that.
Yep, she was in Sonic CD. Honestly, Justin, when I was researching this question, I was just as shocked as you. I did not realize Amy debuted that early in the Sonic franchise. But yeah, she has been annoying Sonic for much longer than any of us have ever anticipated.
Oh, wow. See, I was right to be nervous about that one.
Yep, you were completely right to be nervous. As soon as you said, like, this feels like a trick question, a Grinch grin emerged on my face, or it just, like, encircled my whole head.
Oh, boy. That's 3 wrong in a row for me. Things are not looking good.
That is true.
All right, well, luckily for me, this next question is my personal favorite of
no.
this list. If you were listening the last time we did this, I had a question where I asked Chris, which of the following weird video game titles was not actually a title?
Oh, no.
That question was so fun, I decided to make that a recurring question, and we are about to do it again.
Oh, no.
Chris, which of the following wacky game titles is not an actual game?
Oh, God.
A. I can't even say these.
Let's hear them.
A. Ninja Golf. B. Save Me and Save You.
What?
C.
What?
Let me finish.
Okay.
C. Irritating Stick.
And the last one.
And D, Wild Woody.
Oh, God. Wild Woody.
So Ninja Golf,
Oh, no.
Save Me and Save You, Irritating Stick, and Wild Woody.
Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, no. These all sound plausible. Oh, no. Okay. All right. There are so many different types of golf games, and ninjas are very popular. I'm sure there has to be a ninja golf. I'm sure that has to be real. Ninja golf has to be real. Plus, it sounds the least wacky of these titles, so I'm saying that one's real. Then Save Me and Save You, Irritating Stick, and Wild Woody?
Wild Woody. Woody is spelled Woody.
Wild Woody. That sounds like just a really like a porno from like the 70s and the 80s. Like, hey ladies, would you like to get down with Wild Woody? Oh my. And then, like, bad jazz plays in the background. Oh man. Oh no. Oh. Okay. All right. So, if I know you, I would think that if you were going to make up one of the names, I would think it would be influenced by one of the titles on the list. So, Wild Woody and Irritating Stick, I mean, they've got that wood thing going between them. So, Save Me and Save You, I'm going to kick off the list for right now. I mean, I have no choice. I gotta whittle this down somehow, and this is the way I chose. So now the question is, which one is real? Irritating Stick or Wild Woody? Irritating Stick sounds like it could be like a bad translation of a Japanese game. But Wild Woody has that alliteration going for it. I feel like some video game titles would try to, like, oh, let's have something alliterative going. I'm going to go with Irritating Stick. I'm going to say Irritating Stick is the fake one.
Final answer.
That is my final answer.
Chris, believe it or not, Irritating Stick is a actual game, and that answer is incorrect.
Oh.
Oh no!
All right, which one was the fake one?
The fake game is B, Save Me and Save You.
Oh, damn it! Damn it! That one sounded crazy enough to be plausible. Oh, damn it!
That was my plan. I was very nervous when you instantly knocked off Ninja Golf because I thought that was a pretty good one too.
Oh man! All right. Oh, damn. Okay.
Yep.
All right.
So Ninja Golf, Irritating Stick, and Wild Woody are all actual games. Wild Woody, I think, was on the Sega CD. Irritating Stick is on the PlayStation, the original PlayStation, and the cover is like a guy holding like a joystick, almost like an Atari-looking controller. And Ninja Golf, I don't remember what system it was on, but the cover is just like a ninja like with a driver like taking a swing. It's pretty great.
Oh man. All right. That was a good one, man. That was a good question. Like, Save Me and Save You. Like, that sounds like a cash-in, like, platformer where, like, oh, you know, a brother has to save his sister or something, and it's, like, super ultra-generic. Like, Oh, that was good. That was really good. Yeah, great question.
Yep. Thank you. We can't all be as great as Dark Death Evil Man from last time.
Dark Death Evil Man. Oh man, that makes me laugh every single time.
It's a real game.
It is. That's incredible. We should play it.
Yeah, we seriously should.
All right, but before we do that, Justin, we got to get through these questions. So number 6. Which of these Castlevania games did Death not appear in? A. Castlevania. B. Castlevania 2 Belmont's Revenge. C. Castlevania 3 Dracula's Curse. or D, Super Castlevania 4?
All right. So I like Castlevania a lot. I like the series, but I really surprisingly have not played that much of it. This could be a toss-up. I know that Super Castlevania 4 is kind of like a remake of the original Castlevania. So I would assume it won't be either of those two. I'm going to knock those two out. And I know that Castlevania 2 is really weird. It has that strange NES tradition of the second game in a series just being like really obscure and not that great, like, or just very different than what the original game were, like, you know, Zelda 2, Super Mario Bros. 2. But would you know that I know that Castlevania 2 is a weird kind of offshoot game, and you might be trying to trick me.
Some game theory in play here.
Yeah, my original gut reaction was Castlevania 3, but the last time I went with my gut, I believe I got that wrong. I'm going to go B, Castlevania 2.
Is that your final answer?
Yes.
Justin, you are correct.
Excellent!
Yes.
Yes, but there is a caveat here, Justin. You picked B, and it's a good thing you said Castlevania 2, because here's the thing. There are 2 Castlevania 2 games. Castlevania, see, when I gave the answers, there was Castlevania, and I said Castlevania 2, Belmont's Revenge. The NES game that you were thinking of is Castlevania 2, Simon's Quest. That's the one with the day-night mechanic that, like, screwed everything all up and is generally considered to be a terrible game, for good reason. Belmont's Revenge was actually released on the original Game Boy back in the early 90s. I forget which year specifically, but it was one of the only games in the Castlevania franchise that did not feature death as an enemy. So you are right. Castlevania 2 is correct. It's just that it was a different Castlevania 2 than you were thinking.
So Simon's Quest was on the NES. Belmont's Revenge was on the Game Boy?
Correct.
Interesting.
Yes. So, good job. That is correct.
All right. Well, it's good to have a correct answer. It's been a while. Chris, if you get this next one wrong, we will be tied again.
Yes, we will be. I don't know what to do in the event of a tie.
Yeah, I can't remember if we figured that out last time or not, but I guess we'll figure something out.
We'll cross that bridge.
Yes. Okay, moving on. Chris, your next question. Which game system was shown prior to release with an ultimately canceled controller nicknamed the Boomerang? Was it A, Xbox 360, B, PS3, C, the Wii, or D, Sega Dreamcast?
It's nice to get an easy question after a while. This, I remember it well. The mockery, the calls, people referring to it as a batarang. The thing looked very goofy. It was not ergonomically designed well at all. Imagine trying to hold this thing. I mean, it literally had the controls off on the side, and you'd have to bend your wrists at an awkward angle. Like, anyone who tried to hold this thing would get carpal tunnel. Especially for anyone who attempted to pre-order a PS3, which is the system that it was originally designed for. That's my final answer.
Excellent!
Yeah, I figured it might be a softball. I wasn't entirely sure if you had known that one or not, but there you go.
Yeah.
You earned that correct answer.
Yeah, that was among the many, many decisions that Sony made with the PS3 that left a lot of people scratching their heads.
Yeah, I was looking it up because it was so weird. 'Cause I remember that too, and I was just like, how can you show a controller and then like completely scrap it like that? But basically, they unveiled. It was the 2005 E3 conference, and they unveiled it, and basically like showed the system. They gave the specs and everything, and next to the system was this boomerang shaped controller, but nothing was said about the controller at all. They didn't show it off in the presentation or anything. It was just there as like a display piece, basically, and they didn't even have a name for it. The boomerang nickname just came from people, fans and stuff, kind of dubbed it that. And one of the executives had said over the next year, there was some feedback that people liked the controller, but a lot of feedback of people that didn't like the controller. And ultimately, they decided to go back to the original design that came out with the PS3. But those controllers that did come out with the PS3 are really chintzy and break a lot. So I wonder, maybe they had to kind of scramble to get it together, and they didn't use the best kind of material.
I mean, let's face it, Justin. That boomerang controller would have broken a lot too.
Yeah, it was. If you've never seen it before, look it up. But it is very. I mean, I appreciate like the futuristic appeal of it, but yeah, as you said, Chris, it was not ergonomical at all, and there's just a lot of plastic on the sides. It just doesn't have anything on it. It's just like very long, curves for I guess your hands, and looks weird.
Yeah, not a good design at all. All right, we're in the final stretch here. Are you ready, Justin?
Yes.
All right. I apologize in advance for this one. It's yet another one of those franchises you have not played. Which of these European cities did Nathan Drake go to in the Uncharted series? A. Paris, B. Rome, C. Barcelona, or D. London?
Which one did he not go to?
Which of those did he go to? Of those cities, he went to only one of them. He's been to a lot of places all around the world, but from what I researched of the Uncharted series, he's only been to one of these cities.
Well, like you said, I did not really play any of the Uncharted. I played a little bit of the first one. That's about it. But for some reason, when you said Barcelona, like my brain started flickering. And that worked for you for the Super Mario 64 question. I'm going to try it here. Was that option C was Barcelona?
That was option C was Barcelona.
Then I'm going to say C, Barcelona, my final answer.
You are going to say C, Barcelona is your final answer.
Yes.
That, Justin, is incorrect.
Oh no!
Damn.
He's been to London. Jolly old London. Pip pip cheerio.
What a boring place for an action game.
Yeah, he stopped there real quick, decided to get some tea, hop on the trolley, and just be bored in London. Yeah, a lot of people. I think that was Uncharted 3. He went to London, and yeah, I mean, it is what it is. I don't know.
Whatever.
What?
Sorry to offend our UK fans.
Sorry to offend our UK. I've never been to London. I'm sure it's lovely.
I would love to go to London. I just don't think it's a great setting for an action game. But maybe I'm wrong.
I honestly would love to go to any of these cities. Paris, Rome, Barcelona, London. Elena and I have talked about going to Paris like all the time.
Yeah, it would be pretty sweet.
Yep.
One day. Okay. Let's see. Things are not looking good for me. I now have 4 questions wrong. I'm not out of it yet. Chris, if you get these next 2 wrong and I get the last one right, we will tie.
All right, so let me see. So right now I have 4. You have 3. So
yes.
If I get this one right, then mathematically I've won the whole thing.
Yes.
All right,
yes.
So I got a lot riding on this. You've got a lot riding on this question. I hope, for your sake, it's a tough one.
Well, we'll see.
All right, lay it on me.
Chris, you have been very vocal that you are a fan of adventure games over the years.
Right.
Which of the following titles is not a series published by Sierra Entertainment? Is it A, King's Quest, B, Space Quest, C, Police Quest, or D, Spy Quest?
Okay, so Kings and Space Quest, I know for a fact were Sierra. I know for a fact that those were Sierra games. In fact, I remember watching Game Grumps one time where Dan, it was just him. Like, he grew up, he loved playing adventure games way back when. He actually played a lot of Space Quest for, from Sierra. So I know Space Quest is out, and
yeah, so that actually inspired this question because I just watched that video this week. And,
really?
Yeah. First, like, I love the video. I really appreciated like how much of adoration Dan had for when he was playing it, and just his input while he was playing. I thought it was great. But I had never really seen the game in action and knew too much about it. And that game looks. It's incredible what they did for that time period, and like the pixel-based 8-bit graphics that they did, like ships flying through space and stuff. The animation is fantastic. It is really cool, and it's making me want to go try out some of the Space Quest games.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing though. Like as Dan played through the game, I'm sure you could tell like a lot of the answers that he had to type in for some of the puzzles were just completely out of left field. Like if you were left alone having to think about a solution to some of those problems, you would never ever think of how you actually needed to solve those problems, which is just classic Sierra. Which does not help me solve this problem of what is the franchise remaining. So we have Police Quest and Spy Quest. See, it could go either way. Like if you were a spy, I'm not familiar with either franchise. You may have made one of them up, but I can imagine Spy Quest, you would go through and you would try to like solve, like take out alarms and like knock out guards in unique ways and try to steal treasure. That could be pretty fun as an adventure game. Police Quest, you might have to think of like wacky ways to solve crimes and figure out like who killed who. Ooh, man. If I had to guess, see, they did King's Quest and they did Space Quest. And those games kind of revolved around like wacky people doing wacky things. I would think a spy being kind of goofy and wacky would be more in Sierra's wheelhouse. So I am going to say that Police Quest is the one that they did not do.
Is that your final answer?
That, Justin, is my final answer.
Chris, you are incorrect.
Oh no! I choked.
Spy Quest is one that indeed I did make up. Police Quest apparently is a game made by Sierra.
Damn.
Whew, man. So you had a 50-50 shot there. And luckily for me, you blew it.
I blew it. Oh, man. If I lose this is going to that's going to come back to haunt me.
Oh, man. I got really scared when you immediately knocked out King's Quest and Space Quest.
Yeah, those two are well known. I remember
they're classics.
I remember a couple years ago they had the remake of King's Quest that came out, which looks fantastic.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, it was really cool.
Oh, God, yeah. Whew. All right. So
it's come to this.
It's come to this. The final countdown. Feel free to insert that. We don't have the rights to play that song.
Yeah, we don't have the rights to that. Sorry.
So, so after 7 questions, we are all knotted up. Justin, are you ready? Are you ready?
You're knotted up. You're still ahead, but by 1.
Oh, you're right.
So if I get this right and you get the next one wrong, then we'll be knotted up.
Then we're tied. Oh, right. Oh, forgive me. All right, so Justin, kind of a plot twist with this one. I have to throw a hat tip out there to Louie, friend of the show, who helped inspire this question.
Oh boy.
Yep.
He's probably trying to trick me.
Yep, he got the ball rolling with the question. We developed it from there, and now I think we got one that is a Justin Buster.
All right.
All right.
Let's hear it.
Okay. The Moogle was introduced to the Final Fantasy series in Final Fantasy III. They have appeared in some capacity in every Final Fantasy since then, except A. Final Fantasy IV, B. Final Fantasy V, C. Final Fantasy VII, or D. Final Fantasy IX.
Okay.
Which of those games did not have a Moogle?
It was 4, 5, 7, and 9.
4, 5, 7, 9.
Now, luckily for me, one of these options I have beaten. Final Fantasy IV is one of my favorite Final Fantasy games, and I played through it. However, again, that was quite a little while ago. There's definitely not a Moogle in your party, but that doesn't mean they're not in the game. Final Fantasy VII, I know a Cat Sith or something, I think, has like a Moogle on his head. I never really played that one too much, so I could be wrong there. 9, unfortunately, I have not played yet, so I'm not sure. And 5, I've never played. I know 5 is weird. 5 is the first one that has, or one of the first that. 3 was the first one that had the job class system, but I know it was back again in 5 and kind of works a little better.
Right.
5 is what the main hero of that is the unfortunately named Butz, B-U-T-Z.
I mean, unfortunate depending on your point of view. It may be hilarious to others. Yeah. I know better than to include Final Fantasy VI on this list.
Yeah. Well, thanks for taking away a softball for me.
You're welcome.
Well, I don't know anything about 9. I know some of the characters, and I never played 5 at all. I know 5 is kind of weird. I played through 4. I don't remember seeing any Moogles before, but it doesn't mean that they weren't there. I'm gonna guess B, Final Fantasy V, because I just don't know. That's what I'm going with.
All right. That is your final answer,
Yes.
Justin. That is incorrect.
Oh no!
The correct answer, believe it or not, is Final Fantasy IV. A. Yep.
I should have known.
That one does not have a single Moogle in it.
Yeah.
Winner, winner, chicken dinner.
Damn. Should have known that. I beat that game. It's still ain't Final Fantasy I beat.
Oh, man. The sweet, sweet feel of victory. Just for complete...
That's not true.
For
I beat 15.
That is true.
Continue.
Yes. All right. It doesn't help. But yeah. Just for completeness'
right.
sake, what is question 8?
Yes, I concede. You won. Congratulations. Honestly, this next question, I think, is a softball anyway. I'm pretty sure you would have gotten it. But for poops and giggles, here we go.
Giggles and poops.
Which action movie hero starred in the film adaptation of Street Fighter, released in 1994?
Jean-Claude Van
Was
Damme.
Okay. Yeah, you're right.
Excellent!
See, I could afford to just blurt that one out, but I'm sitting in the victor's throne.
I know you had. See, it's always like one goes. I'm either too easy or too hard. I can't get like a middle ground. You know what?
You know what? I got lucky. I got really lucky, especially on that Xbox question. That one was make or break. I got so lucky guessing that one right. Like,
Hey, I can't take it away from you. You earned it.
if that one question had gone wrong, this would be an entirely different discussion going on right now. Those were some good questions, man. That was hard. That was really
Oh
hard.
yeah, it was fun. It was really good. Good questions all around.
Yep.
Yeah, I had Steven Seagal, Chuck Norris, Sylvester Stallone, and Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Yeah, it's actually funny because was it a few days ago? The director of Street Fighter actually talked about it. He said he discussed the filming of Street Fighter and what a colossal mess that movie was to make.
Really?
Just because, like, he said, like, I couldn't say it at the time, but I can say it now. Like, if you notice, like, if you ever watch that movie, Jean-Claude Van Damme is the star, but he's barely in that movie. Like, they focus on everyone else, but barely on Jean-Claude Van Damme. Apparently, that was because Van Damme showed up to the set coked out of his mind pretty much every single day of filming. So there were only like a few moments at a time where they could actually get him sober enough to put him in front of a camera and film him. Which even then, like, what weird casting for Jean-Claude. Like, he's a Belgian and he's supposed to be this all-American hero.
I know, yeah. He was Guile. So weird.
That whole movie did not make any sense. Like, that's one of those movies that's so ludicrously bad, it's actually good. Like, it's just so stupid, it's fun.
It's kept in the tradition of horrible video game movie adaptation.
Yes. All right.
That being said, Chris is your winner this evening with 5 points to my 3. Chris, hey man, I concede. You earned it. Congratulations. You have the ability to bounce an indie arcade back into my face.
All right. That's, man, I got to be honest. I'm really glad I won, not just for the fact that I won, but I don't know how I could have dealt with the trash talk if you had won both of these Quiz Time Supremes. Like, we've had them twice, and you've won both of them. You'd be like the New York Yankees of the Quiz Time Supremes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, so I had to bust your dynasty a little.
Hey, well, great job.
Yep. Yeah, I'll stash that away in my back pocket until next time. And yeah, until the next time we have another one of these Quiz Time Supremes. That was, like you said, a lot of fun.
Yeah. And thanks to Lewis for participating in that question and basically ruining the game for me.
Yeah, thank you, Lewis. Really appreciate it. Yeah, you are my favorite. Also,
Actually, that was a very good question.
Also, speaking of Lewis, he just recently posted on Twitter some fan art that he drew back from episode 6, A Horse Named Steven. He drew that scene where I actually listened back to it, where Justin, you described after I climbed up the mountain, Steven put a hoof on my face and like pushed me off the cliff while he's smoking a cigarette. Like, that was actually your description of that scene, and Lewis actually drew that instance, and it came out really, really good. So
yeah, he drew a fantastic picture. I was cracking up when I saw it. It's on Twitter. You can see it, and if it's not up on the site yet, we'll throw it up on there too. But yeah, he did a really excellent job with that representation of a very action-packed scene.
Yes, he did. Yeah, check him out. Follow him on Twitter at Louis T Animation. That's Louis, Louey T Animation.
Yeah, thanks for the fan art. Send us more fan art. Send us more emails. Contact us however you can, whenever you want.
Yep, we love hearing from you. Most of you.
Yeah. All right, with that being said, that's all for this week. Remember, Press It Repeatedly posts new episodes Tuesdays on iTunes, Google Play, Podbean, YouTube, and Spotify. If you like what you hear, please take a moment to rate and review the show, or tell your friends about us. It helps other people find the podcast and will really help us grow. And thank you to all who have rated, reviewed, and subscribed so far. We love you.
You can follow us on our Facebook page or on Twitter and Instagram. We are at Press A Repeatedly. I'm at cgold113, and Justin is at oaf7724. You can email us any questions or comments at parpodcast@gmail.com. That's parpodcast@gmail.com. And don't forget to check us out on our new blog at pressarepeatedly.com.
That's all for this week. Chris and Justin signing off. And remember to blast wildly and hopelessly at exploding flying alien bugs. Press A repeatedly. Awesome.